Hello, everybody, once again, and welcome to the show. It's 3 a.m., and this is important. I'm Matt, and with me, as always, is Jessy.
Hello.
And, what are we going to be talking about today, Jessy?
We're going to be talking about haunted places.
Haunted places.
Yeah.
I've been excited about this one, honestly. I love spooky stuff.
Yeah, me too. It definitely feels like a 3 a.m. subject, you know?
Yeah, because then, the creepy thoughts kind of creep into your mind, and then you get all, spooked out by your own stupid brain.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what happens to me.
Yeah. I was actually doing some last-minute research last night.
Oh, yeah.
And I ended up going until 3 a.m.
Nice.
And it was quite spooky.
Yeah. Yeah, it just starts to feel more, I don't know, visceral or close to you when you're reading about this stuff late at night.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I read any creepy stories or anything too.
And isn't 3 a.m. 3 to 4 the witching hour or something?
Yeah, I've heard it's the witching hour. 3:33 is the witching minute or something. I don't even know. Yeah, the only thing that I can assume is it's half of 666, which is a stretch, but whatever.
I don't know. Maybe?
Yeah.
Either way, things are spooky as shit at night.
But we're doing haunted places. This is part one, basically. We're probably going to do this a few times, at least.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a running series of episodes over the course of the show.
So you've selected a couple of places then, right?
Just
that we're going to cover?
Yeah. So we're going to cover some haunted basics and stuff like that.
Sure. Do an introductory.
Yeah. Yeah. And then 2. And honestly, I planned on doing a lot more, but the 2 that I started with were just so fascinating that
you just couldn't stop looking into them and getting shit on them.
I'll give credit where credit's due once we get to it. But our first little haunted place, we could have just done an episode on it exclusively.
Yeah.
I got so sucked into it. I spent so much extra time just reading about it and not necessarily the haunted parts.
Yeah, you've seemed excited about it. Just you've told me a few little tiny things about it, but not much.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. I want to go there and visit it because both of the places we're covering today, you can visit.
Really?
They're still standing. They're still in the world today.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
Me too.
Yeah, we'll have to do a haunted places trip sometime soon.
Yeah. One side note, I probably looked at 20 different places really briefly and stuff, but I'd say 90% of them have been commercialized.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. Why not make $1 off of it, right?
Yeah. Doing the haunted tours thing and the gift shop thing.
Oh, yeah, of course.
You
got to sell the merch, man.
Got to have a Starbucks at the haunted houses.
Yeah.
Anywho, why don't we start things off with a real simple little question here. Do you believe in ghosts? / have you ever experienced any sort of paranormal activity before?
I don't believe in ghosts. I do believe there might be something out there that we don't know about yet. There's a ton of shit we don't know, right? And what the limited knowledge we have of dimensions. So my assumption about ghost stories and stuff is it might be fourth dimensional stuff, but also that's just a fun theory I like to play with. So
sure.
Yeah, for the most part, I don't really believe in ghosts. I feel like I've had some sort of experiences, but I feel like I can explain them, or, I've done my own research, and just with the balance of sound or your own brain. And it's hard to trust your own brain because it's just a ball of jelly in your head controlling everything. It's all electrified meat.
Yeah.
So it does stupid shit sometimes and spooky things, and you can't always trust what you see all the time, I guess.
Yeah, your brain absolutely protects yourself from unexplainable things. And I'm in the same boat. I don't believe in ghosts either.
Yeah.
Any story, I guess, that I've come across has been, you could explain it. You could explain it away.
Yeah, there's got to be a logical explanation for it.
Yeah. And I don't know. I just feel look, it's 2021. Technology has advanced to a crazy degree. And obviously, like you said, there's going to be things out there that we can't explain. Whether that's a different dimension or maybe some afterlife shit. I don't know.
Whatever it is.
I mean, we're not getting photos of ghosts. You see all these old-timey photos.
Yeah.
Of a ghost.
Yeah, we're not getting, empirical evidence of them.
Yeah, there's no 4K fucking photos out there. There's nothing 1080p. Anything that's coming out now, for the most part, you can either explain it away or it's just clearly a blemish on the photo or something in the lens.
Or it's just photoshopped or anything like that.
That too. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hard skeptic. That's what I would say. But I will also say that I don't know. So I don't believe in it. But at the same time, I feel if they're out there, if paranormal activity is a thing and ghosts or demons or whatever the fuck are out there, that if you're open to it, they'd be more receptive to you. Like I also kind of operate under the
Maybe.
assumption. So like the more paranoid part of me, or like maybe the part of me that like might believe in something like that, is also just like, no, like close yourself off so that
I feel like it
you
might
don't
be the
get
opposite as
haunted.
well, though, because then if you like deny it, they might want to fuck with you more if they're like the evil ghosts or whatever. Personally, I just think it's a fun concept.
It is fun.
And I like
for
paranormal stuff because I think it's fun too. And I like stories in the woods and stuff. And like, I do like paranormal stuff as like a fun concept. But yeah, it doesn't really affect my actual life.
Yeah. I also, one of my guilty pleasures, and I know you like this too, but is watching like paranormal shows.
Oh, yeah.
And
like paranormal investigators.
Yeah.
Investigation shows.
And they're so shitty and like they're so dramatic over like nothing. What was that?
Yeah, and the thing that bothers me the most about those paranormal investigation shows is the fact that if anything ever actually like, you know, happens or whatever, they all freak out and don't try to gather any evidence.
Yeah.
Like they all get really scared and then they just like completely shut off their whole investigative thing and just like run away or whatever, like get really spooked and like, what do you want? I'm scared. I gotta go. And then it's just like, turn the lights on. And then that's it. That's what you're there for. And then all of a sudden you're just like, oh, I didn't want this. I didn't want this at all. Like, I don't get it, man.
Yeah. And like, I know how they're going to end every single time I watch them. And it's the same thing with Bigfoot. I know that they didn't find Bigfoot because if we found evidence of Bigfoot or ghosts,
the shit would be all over the news, man.
I'd have heard of it before this fucking show came out. So
yeah, but also like there's that one the comedian Mitch Hedberg. He has that one bit about the fact that Bigfoot's probably just blurry.
I like that theory. He's just straight up blurry. God, I want Bigfoot to be real.
Me too, man.
Anyways, we're getting sidetracked.
Yeah, this is a weird tangent. All right, so where do you want to go?
Yeah, so you and I both don't believe in ghosts, but I did look at like several polls and stuff, and the only information poll-wise that like I found relatively easily was for the States.
Okay.
But it's like an estimated 40% of Americans believe in ghosts.
Yeah. And there's like a higher percentage of people that believe in angels, right?
I didn't look at angels and stuff, but
that's just like a statistic I think I know about.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
so
I'm sure
40,
they do.
Did you say 40%?
40% of Americans like believe in ghosts, and another 25% are like unsure or won't definitively say that they're not real. So that leaves only 35% of the folks like you and I
don't believe in ghosts.
That just straight up don't believe in them.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I would have figured the number would be a lot different. Like a lot lower in the belief category.
It was surprising. Like it did. Okay, so like the studies I looked at, there's 3 major ones. I don't have the names memorized. And then I averaged. But they had a whole bunch of other stuff. Like I remember, I think the highest category was spiritual healing.
Okay.
Which was at 56% of folks believed in it.
Right.
And then all sorts of other ones. Like they had UFOs and shit in there. And it seems to be, I think like low 30% was the lowest on any of these categories.
Okay.
That people, said they believed in. So basically a third of people believe in like unexplainable shit,
Yeah.
At least in the States.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I think before we get started on the really spooky places and stuff like that, there's 2 sort of like theories or maybe like explanations about like just like haunted places in general or what may be like causing them in a more like logical way.
What's a more explainable version of paranormal activity?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, essentially. Like this is maybe a scientific way or something like that to explain why these places have the energy that they do or the sightings that they have.
Right.
And the first one is one that you wanted me to cover, which is the fear frequency.
Yeah, it's something that I studied when I was in audio engineering school.
Yeah.
I don't remember too much about it. Is it 19 hertz?
It is 19 hertz.
Okay, yeah. So I remember reading about it, figuring out that like there's something about the frequency that kind of triggers a primal instinct in you.
Yeah, it's said to bring on like a sense of like dread and discomfort, basically.
So I've actually done a test down here with my giant speakers.
Uh-huh.
And I've blasted 19 hertz. It's totally true.
Interesting.
Like we can do it after we're done the podcast.
Yeah.
Because it's freaky how effective it is.
Wait, can we do it now?
Yeah.
Why not do it while we're recording? I'd love some anecdotal evidence.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, just edit it so it's smooth and shit. We're good.
Yeah, I'll go do it then.
Okay. Because we can't hear it.
No.
I'll get into it.
It's inaudible.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it might be nice to explain what's going on.
Yeah, so we're listening to 19 hertz on my speakers.
Matt has just turned it on and blasted it. And do you feel any different?
I feel a little anxious, I guess.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I feel like I had to, when you first turned it on, I feel like I had to take a deeper breath.
Yeah.
Almost like my chest felt a little tight, but it might just be the amount of sound coming into the room kind of thing. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't think I feel any creep. I don't think I feel creeped out.
Here, let me see if I can turn it up a bit.
Okay. Oh, look at your cat.
Yeah, he's not having a good time.
Oh my God. I don't feel it any differently.
No?
No.
I think that is a thing, though, that some people don't.
Well, we'll get into it. You can, whenever you want, you can turn it off, and I'll get into.
Malibu doesn't like it.
No, he straight up does seem stressed.
Yeah,
but maybe they can hear it. Maybe it's within their range.
It is like a primal reaction, I think.
Yeah, he definitely seems.
So he doesn't
on
look.
edge.
He looks on edge.
Yeah,
he doesn't look okay with it.
All right, we are back.
So yeah, that's the fear frequency.
And you said you felt a little anxious.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily feel that way.
It definitely affects me. Maybe it's just like a placebo effect, but...
Yeah, I think so, maybe. It definitely freaked Malibu out.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
He seems a little more relaxed now.
But let me get into it a little bit. I'm excited.
Yeah, for sure.
Just a little bit, though.
Yeah.
The Mythbusters did an episode.
Really, they did?
Yeah. Well, it was they did an experiment on one of their Halloween episodes, basically. And that's all the science I pulled from.
Cool.
But I'll tell you about the experiment.
It's all the science you need, man.
I know. I trust them so much. I love them so much. Okay, so basically they set up 4 cabins and they got 10 participants.
Okay.
On one of the cabins, they had a 40,000 watt sound system that was blasting the fear frequency at this cabin.
Okay.
Which is a lot. And I don't know if we've mentioned it yet, but 19 hertz is not within the range that we can hear.
No.
We can't hear it. So there was no way for anyone to know that this sound was being blasted at this one particular cabin.
Yeah, most people can hear down to around 40. It said we can hear about 20, but it's really 40.
Okay, so it's well below the limit then of what we can hear. Yeah, so 10 people, 4 cabins. They were asked to sit in each cabin. Each participant was asked to sit in each cabin for 3 minutes. And
are they supposed to guess which one is haunted?
Basically say which one was the creepiest to you.
Right.
And only 2 out of the 10 participants identified cabin number 3, which was the affected cabin, and myth busted.
Well, shit.
Because it just wasn't enough to correlate on anything or any significance whatsoever.
Yeah.
About the fear frequency.
Sure.
And if it's good enough for the Mythbusters, it's good enough for me.
I trust them.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's interesting that you felt a little anxious, but I already knew about the outcome of the experiment, so that could have also swayed my opinion of it.
But also, typically lower frequencies usually do affect my heart and stuff. Even at 40 hertz or 60 hertz, really bassy music affects my heart quite a bit. So,
well,
I think I just have a physiological response to low frequencies.
Maybe that's why you're an audio engineer. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. It would make sense.
Just extra affected by sounds and things?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's fear frequencies. A really cool concept, but I don't think the science seems to back it up.
I also don't remember what the origin of the fear frequency is, why it's 19 hertz. And
yeah, I didn't look into it either, but I don't know.
Could have picked any number. I might do my own research, figure out if it's a different frequency.
Yeah, it could be. That's something I thought too when I got the results or read the results of the Mythbusters thing. It was oh, well, maybe it's not 19 hertz, but maybe it's something else. The other one too, the other kind of theory, and this is my favorite as a non-believer, and I think scientifically it explains a lot of shit, is carbon monoxide poisoning.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you feel like your house is haunted, please check your carbon monoxide detector.
Please.
It's very imperative. You might die, so just make sure it's not a fucking carbon monoxide leak, please.
Just do it. Yeah. When I moved into the place before the one I'm in now, your dad bought me a carbon monoxide detector.
Yeah, he did. I remember that.
And I was oh, wow, John really cares about me.
Yeah. Doesn't want you to die in your sleep.
Yeah, thank you,
the
John.
Silent killer.
So yeah, the symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning are kind of really go hand in hand with a lot of the symptoms people report if they think their house is haunted and stuff. So you got headaches, dizziness, nausea, confusion, a general lack of of energy, blurred vision,
Yep.
and of course the big one, hallucinations.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hallucinations.
I mean, come on. It just explains it all so well.
It seems pretty cut and dry.
Yeah. And in 2006, the television show This American Life had an episode covering a family that was convinced that their house was haunted.
Yeah.
Both parents and children reported being held down in their beds by dark creatures. They said the plants in their house were dying, beds were shaking. They all had freaking headaches and a feeling like they were having the life drained from them.
Okay.
After an incredibly brief investigation by the fire department, it was determined that their furnace was leaking carbon monoxide.
Great.
As soon as they fixed it, surprise, surprise.
Everything got better? No way.
No more haunted house.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
How that happened.
Yeah. And I also think that like...
That's scary.
Yeah, isn't it though?
That's scarier than a haunting, man. Is that you get these like symptoms and then you get confused and then like it's hard to make a rational decision when you're hallucinating and fucking confused.
And your brain's not getting enough oxygen.
Yeah. It's not like any of them were wrong about what they were feeling because they were feeling all those things 100%. But it was a damn carbon monoxide haunting.
And you look at like a lot of haunted houses. I don't know. I feel like the vast majority of haunted houses are like these really old fucking places.
Yeah. Old abandoned places.
Yeah. With old appliances, with less freaking stringent safety features. And I'm assuming not a whole heck of a lot of like laws in place to protect for carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah, probably not.
So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that's a great way to explain it.
Yeah, I would say like probably a lot of haunting cases could be explained by carbon monoxide.
Yeah, but that still doesn't explain like, cemeteries and like outdoor venues or like locations.
But that
and
definitely
stuff.
covers like domestic haunted houses and that kind of stuff for the most part, probably.
Yeah.
Then again, I don't know anything about anything, but still seems like a good explanation. Check your goddamn carbon monoxide detectors to make sure they're working so you don't die in your sleep. Thank you very much.
You have been warned.
Brought to you by the carbon monoxide detector people.
Okay, so now let's talk about kind of the main types of ghosts / spirits.
Ooh, I love types of ghosts and spirits and stuff. And
and I found 5.
5?
Yeah, and I'd only heard of like 2 out of the 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we play a game with this where I try to guess what they are?
Yeah. Oh, I would love that. Yeah. Okay. They're kind of self-explanatory, but...
Yeah, whatever.
It would still be fun. Okay, so the first and probably most common type is called the interactive personality.
Interactive personality.
What do you think that is?
That would be a ghost that you feel is communicating with you?
Yeah.
That you can communicate with yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Okay. Well, that's
like,
my guess.
Like yes, but also there's more
Final
to it.
answer.
Okay, yeah.
Lock me in.
Yeah, so they're just like classic ghosts, basically. They're spirits of former people, is what quote-unquote experts say.
Yes, the paranormal experts.
Yeah. That's what the experts say, is that they're former people and that they keep the personality that they had when they were alive.
Okay.
So like if you're a dick in real life, you're going to be a dick of a ghost.
Cool. All right.
No growth in the afterlife, apparently.
Yeah, I guess you can't change once you're dead.
Yeah. So they have the same personality as when they were alive, and they also still feel emotions.
Okay.
Even though they're dead, which I thought was like an interesting concept.
Yeah, they still have a lot of human element to them.
Yeah. They can appear and disappear at will. They can speak or make noises. They can touch you, and they can even create odors. Yeah.
Man, that's my kind of ghost. If I'm going to be a ghost.
Stinky ghost.
Yeah, I'm going to be a stinky ghost. I can't wait. I'm going to be a stinky ghost.
Stanky ghost.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right, so what's next?
Number 2 is ectoplasm.
Ectoplasm. That's like the, in photographs, that's like the black oozy stuff, right?
No, sort of. Maybe.
Yeah, that's what ectoplasm is, dude.
Moving on then. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, defined. Done. We're done here. Move on. I win.
So it's usually smoke.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't say it's like inky per se. I guess it could be because they all vary so much, right?
Well, it
like,
shows up as like black smoke or whatever on photographs or whatever.
Well, it's mostly white smoke. Just saying.
I don't know.
According to these experts.
Oh, sorry. I'll diverge to the experts.
Are you an expert?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure anyone could say they're a ghost expert.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So they usually look like swirling smoke. They can appear in a variety of colors, mostly white.
Yeah.
And they typically move like really like quickly and are rarely stationary.
Yeah.
Ectoplasms have also been reported to turn into interactive personalities.
Okay.
You know, a little wispy, and then they like turn into like a humanoid ghosty
Right.
guy.
Okay.
Yeah. And I do want to say, so I looked at like a shitload of like videos and pictures and shit of just like people saying they saw a ghost or something.
Yeah.
And I did see a video of an ectoplasm.
Okay.
That was like, look, I'm naturally skeptical of anything on video, as I've already mentioned.
Sure.
But this thing looks so convincing on this security footage photo. It was like the movement was like this was not smoke. Like it was either A, real, or B, like photoshopped in there, like edited in there.
Some excellent VFX.
Yeah, excellent VFX. Because this thing, like came in the photo and it was like moving almost like a little snake in midair and shit. And it was like
fun.
super fast. And then it was gone.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
Anyway, it's just like a little standout.
Yeah, I remember there was a documentary on Netflix, and there's like one episode where they cover this medium that channels ectoplasm or something like that.
Yeah. I feel like there was one like movie too where like like horror movie.
Yeah.
I think it was the one where like bodies were lining the walls and they like open their mouths. They sit in like a circle and do like a seance or whatever the fuck they were doing. And then like one of the guys opens their mouths.
It wasn't
and,
The
like,
Conjuring, but it was like something like
ectoplasm
that.
just comes
Haunting
out.
in Connecticut, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, maybe it was that one.
I can't remember.
Yeah. It was fucked up.
Yeah.
Kind of an old movie at this point. Maybe like 10 years old or something. I don't
Around
know.
that, yeah.
Anywho, number 3 and the most exciting one for sure. The poltergeist.
Poltergeist.
What
classic.
do you think a poltergeist is, Matt?
Well, it's usually like an aggressive, physically manipulative ghost, right? Like it throws stuff around and is angry.
Pretty spot on.
Like malevolent, sort of.
Malevolent?
Malevolent?
Yeah.
What are you saying?
What are you saying?
Malevolent.
Malevolent? Malevolent.
Malevolent.
Oh, no, we've said it
What's
too
the
many
word?
times.
What is it?
Maleficent? That's a Disney
Maleficent.
movie.
Maleficent.
That's it.
There you go. That's it. Yep. A maleficent ghost.
Fuck's sakes. All right. I'm no longer confident about the word or what we even just said, so I'm going to keep going.
Yep.
Yeah, so a poltergeist literally means noisy ghost.
Noisy ghost.
Yeah, the direct meaning of it is noisy ghost.
That's cool. I like it.
Yeah. And contrary to media portrayal, they're super rare forms of hauntings.
Okay.
Like you watch any horror movie and they're all fucking poltergeists. But I guess according to experts, super, super rare.
Thank you, experts.
Yeah. And just like you said, poltergeists can manipulate the physical world, moving objects, turning on lights and other electronics, making loud noises. And they've even been reported to light fires.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So like if a haunting is going to kill you, like if a haunting can kill you, it's going to be a poltergeist, you know?
Yeah.
Like these, and they can also like shove you and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. So much like Paranormal Activity, I think the definitive horror movie of like all poltergeists, I think.
Right.
They typically start slow and then work their way up over time and like escalate over time.
Yeah.
Apparently it's not really a thing for like a poltergeist to just show up and suddenly like kill you or like start.
Yeah, it's like in the movie Poltergeist where they like ramp up and like if you feed into them or whatever, then they get worse and worse, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like an interesting thing is like, so there's no like huge consensus on what a poltergeist actually is, but one of the most popular theories is that they're essentially a mass of energy that one individual unknowingly controls.
Right. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which like, I don't know. I think it's really cool, but I don't know how I feel about that because like, I don't know. When you think of poltergeists, like a lot of them end up hurting the person or for sure scaring them. So like, why would you, even if you're unwittingly controlling it, like why would you control it to
do
hurt yourself?
Bad things?
Or like those that you love around you kind of thing.
Yeah, it seems a little
it's
silly.
strange.
It's strange.
But it could also explain, like I do like the energy side of it because it could explain why you like feel weaker and stuff. Because like I don't know, maybe it is feeding off you. Who knows? Ooh. Massive energy though, not like a person. Like poltergeists are not.
It doesn't have like a set personality.
Yeah, yeah. Or demon. Like nothing in my research showed that this was like a demon. Not that I really like delved into demon shit because that's a whole nother episode. But yeah. Number 4. Orbs.
Oh, orbs.
Little orbies.
Those usually just show up on cameras and pictures and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? And those are just otherworldly floating orbs.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
I didn't really know they existed, but then, when I was doing my research, they were certainly the most photographed.
Yeah.
Like haunting.
I've got an embarrassing story about orbs.
Okay.
I remember when I was in middle school, my friend and I were really into ghosts. and we were trying our best. Like we were convinced that like the house he was living in was haunted. And so we set up some cameras and some microphones and tried to gather evidence. And we were like stone cold convinced we got some orbs floating around on the video. And then we realized that his basement's really fucking dusty.
Oh my
And
God.
it was just floaty dust right next to the lens.
Jesus Christ.
But we were like, oh my God, it's a ghost. Oh. And it was like, wow, man. Looking back on that, it's like, that's some dust, bro.
Yikes. That's a big yikes.
Yeah.
But like based off the photos, that's kind of what it all seemed like. Like I did search Reddit. They have like this, there's some subreddit out there where people like submit evidence, and all the orbs photos just look like lens flare or like dust.
Yeah.
You know, like
or just
none
a
of it.
spot on the lens or just
yeah.
a droplet or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's generally what they look like though, right?
It is. It is. And actually a lot of them are in pairs, like two orbs kind of side by side. And I never saw a single video of orbs.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody had any video evidence of moving orbs. But apparently they're the souls of people or animals, and like they're like the first kind of like form like a soul takes would be an orb.
It's like the soul zygote, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. So they basically start off as an orb, and then they can stay that way, or they can move on to an apparition or anything. Apparently they move really quickly, just like ectoplasms do.
Okay.
And like 99% of them are either white or blue.
Cool.
Which I think is probably something to do with the whole camera fuckery.
Yeah.
About being two colors.
That would make sense.
Primarily. I don't know though.
Who knows?
Yeah. Number 5, one that I'd never heard of, is called a funnel ghost.
Funnel ghost.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine what that is.
Yeah.
What is it? What's a funnel ghost?
They're said to be loved ones or owners of property, and are essentially like what happens when they enter our world. From like the spiritual plane. These are the hauntings that are associated with cold spots. So like, I don't know if you've heard, but I've heard like a ton of people when they describe like an
when
encounter.
the temperature drops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like a ghost flew through me and it was so cold.
Yeah.
That would be a funnel ghost. Yeah. Like they're usually described as like swirling vortexes or like spinning beams of light.
Okay.
And apparently they're most common in like old locations. So like legit haunted houses, apparently.
So really drafty places.
Yeah, really drafty places. A cold breeze. Oh
what
my
is
God.
this? This must be a ghost. We're going to isolate like 35% of it. Wait, 40% of people with this episode.
Yeah. Oh no.
People are going to be mad at us.
We should have been smart about this. One of us should have not believed and the other should have believed.
Yeah,
so we can
you're
capture
right. But I don't want to lie.
the largest audience we could.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, well.
You want to move on to the good stuff? The first of our historical places?
Nah, I think I'm good. We can just like stop it here.
All right. See ya.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye. Go to bed. Okay. So the first haunted place is actually like a haunted like thing, I guess. Less of a
haunted
place. But
thing.
anyway, the RMS Queen Mary.
The RMS Queen Mary, the
Yeah.
ship.
The ship.
The ship.
And I want to give a huge shout out to maybe our biggest fan and friend, Celeste.
Yeah, hey, Celeste. How
Hi,
you doing?
Celeste. We're calling you out.
Hope you're having a great day.
Thanks for listening, girl.
We love
We're
you
doing
very
the
much.
thing.
We love you very much.
All right, let's get into it.
All right.
Okay, so the RMS Queen Mary was built by the British during the Great Shipbuilding Race of the early 20th century. Back in the days before commercial transatlantic flight, if you wanted to cross the pond, an ocean liner was the best option.
Okay.
And an ocean liner is basically just like a massive ship meant to transport people.
Yeah.
That's what an ocean liner is.
Long distances kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah. Like just like the Titanic.
Right.
Like the Queen Mary looks, well, it is just a bigger version of the Titanic, bigger and faster.
Okay.
Basically, like 3 giant red stacks, like smokestacks and stuff. And
it's a big old ship.
yeah. In the late 1920s, Germany had built 2 ultra-modern ocean liners, one of which held the coveted Blue Riband.
Blue Riband?
Yeah. And yeah, this was probably like my favorite fact when I was doing this episode, but the Blue Riband was awarded to the ship with the fastest average speed for transatlantic voyages.
Nice.
So it was like a huge, like coveted thing.
It was the fast ship.
Yeah, for your ship to be the fastest.
It's like the Michelin star of boats.
Yeah. Yeah, so Germany built 2 of them. One was like slightly behind the Blue Riband winner. And not to be outdone, the UK commissioned the building of 2 ships. the Queen Elizabeth and the Queen Mary.
Queen Mary.
Yeah. After several years of construction, the Queen Mary set sail on her maiden voyage on the 27th of May, 1936, and took the title of Blue Riband later that August.
Wow, they made a fast old boy.
Yes, they
Or
did.
girl.
Old girl.
Fast old girl.
Fast old girl.
Forgot that all ships are girls
Yeah.
for some reason.
Yeah. I actually really like that. I'm going to refer to the Queen Mary as a she tons of times. But yeah, so she got the Blue Riband within months of operation, and she held that title for like a collective 15 years, a massively long amount of time.
Wow, no one could outdo it, eh?
Yeah. And then essentially like once it dropped, there was a couple other ships that got the Blue Riband, and then transatlantic jet flight became a thing and nobody gave a shit.
Bye-bye boats.
Bye-bye boats, bye-bye Blue Riband.
Damn, dude. That would have been a cool era to be like living in.
Yeah.
What ship's going to be the fastest?
Yeah. And it's like super romanticized today, I think, when you think about like the 30s and 40s
Oh,
and
sure.
50s.
I bet it was like a dredge. Like how long, do you know how long one of those transatlantic trips would take on boat?
I don't quite remember.
It would take days though, right?
Days. Yeah. Absolutely days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like,
I complain about like 11-hour flights, so I don't know, man.
yeah. But at least on one of these ships, you could walk around. There was tons of things to do. Like the Queen Mary looks like a fancier Titanic.
Yeah.
Like it had multiple pools, all sorts of banquet halls and different restaurants. And
Okay,
like
that's
basically
pretty cool.
It was really like a floating city. Like this thing was freaking huge. It was over 1,000 feet long.
Wow.
So
That's
yes,
amazing.
it took longer, but it was also a way more enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
And the only option at the time. So
Fair enough.
yeah. After 3 years of normal operation, the ship set sail from Britain to New York. But by the time she arrived, World War II had been declared and she was ordered to stay ported.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like a big thing that ended up affecting the Queen Mary a heck of a lot.
Yeah.
Less than a year later after that, it was decided that due to her size and speed, she would be used as a troop carrier.
Oh, no.
The Queen Mary then sailed to Sydney, Australia, where she was stripped of her luxurious interior, painted navy gray, and for the remainder of the war was renamed the Grey Ghost.
The Grey Ghost.
The Grey Ghost.
This ship's going to be haunted.
Hell yeah, it is.
Oh, my God.
Right from the get-go, pretty much.
Went from being this
destined.
beautiful transport ship to this military fucking nothing.
Yeah. She was the second largest troop carrier of the Second World War next to the Queen Elizabeth.
Okay.
I think she was like 50 feet smaller.
Right.
But she ended up being able to carry more folks.
Okay.
Yeah. And she was involved in virtually every major campaign of the war, including D-Day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
She could carry up to 15,000 troops at one time, and over the course of the war, carried hundreds of thousands of soldiers and tens of thousands of war wives after the war was over,
Wow.
and shipped them all to the States to find husbands.
My goodness.
Yeah. I wasn't able to find any firsthand accounts of being on the ship per se, but I can only imagine the untold horrors that occurred on the ship during its time as the Grey Ghost.
Well, yeah. It was a warship.
Yeah.
War is horrible.
And we'll cover it later on, but I don't know. Like its time as a warship absolutely influenced the hauntings that would plague the ship.
Of course it did.
100%.
Yeah.
Due to her size and the importance of her role, the Grey Ghost was at risk of U-boat attacks and was often surrounded by escort ships while in dangerous waters. And on October 2nd, 1942, the Queen Mary eviscerated one of her escorts, the HMS Curacoa, off the Irish coast.
Damn, okay.
She was so much larger that she essentially sliced through the smaller vessel, and because of the constant threat of attack, she was under strict orders to never stop.
Just never stop. So she just went right through the boat.
Right through one of her escort ships. 239 Allied lives were lost as a result of the collision, and the Grey Ghost continued on.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Crazy. Can you imagine being the captain of the ship and just like knowing that you just killed all these people and you couldn't stop? And
that would be horrible.
Yeah.
We're going to hit this boat and they're not going to make it and we can't do anything about it.
Sorry, guys.
Like I want to stop, but I'm not allowed.
Yeah.
That sucks.
She was too important. She had to carry out the mission.
Fair enough, I guess.
Yeah.
Times of war.
After the war, the Grey Ghost reverted back to the Queen Mary and kept operating as an ocean liner until she was retired in 1967.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long run for a boat, I feel like.
Yeah, it really was.
Especially after being through war. Man.
She completed 1,000 trips across the Atlantic in her time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's many trips.
Mm-hmm. And she remained in a state of limbo until she was purchased by and shipped to Long Beach, the city of Long Beach, in 1983.
Really?
and she has plagued the city ever since.
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh. Not even from a haunting side of things. I'm going to go off on a little tangent.
Okay.
Because it's just so fucked up. So yeah, Long Beach decided to buy the Queen Mary as an attraction.
Okay.
And financially, I think it's got to be the worst decision the city's ever made.
I mean, they bought a giant old ship.
Yeah, I don't know what they expected, but essentially it's been in the harbor the entire time. It's gone through like a shitload of companies that were meant to either A, manage it, or B, restore it.
Sure. Yeah.
All of these companies so far have failed and like gone bankrupt or just not kept their end of the bargain or got booted off their lease for lack of payment. Like nothing's going right.
Yeah.
Jacques Cousteau opened a museum there.
Oh.
And it didn't do well at all. And it shuttered within a decade and all the fish in the museum died. And it was like a horrible mess.
No.
Several hotel companies have operated in there and they've all failed or withdrawn. There's still one now.
Really?
But yeah. And recently as last year, they did a bunch of studies and there was like a laundry list of 30 critical things that needed fixing. And the estimated cost was over $200 million.
My God.
I don't think the Queen Mary is going to last much longer.
Doesn't sound like it.
Like basically $250 million to fix this thing. There's no way it's bringing in that much revenue.
Who's going to put that into it? That sucks. Well, everything has an end.
One of the first guys to take over a lease and like agree to maintain the ship was actually a millionaire that had taken the Queen Mary on like a bunch of trips when he was younger with his wife.
Oh, very cool.
And just like everybody else, he didn't take care of it.
Yep.
So hauntings wise.
Hauntings.
What
we're here for.
What we're here for. So long, illustrious, crazy career until she was ported or in harbor.
Yeah.
So it's said that over 150 ghosts roam the decks of the Queen Mary and at least 49 people have died on the ship over the last 60 years.
I'm surprised it's not a bigger number, seeing as though it was a warship.
Yeah. Well, that's over the last 60 years.
Yeah.
I couldn't find any numbers for the actual war.
I'm sure they didn't keep track, and I'm sure it was really bad.
Yeah. I mean, World War fucking II.
Yeah. Just not a good time. So,
yeah,
I'm sure a lot of people died on her.
Definitely more than 49.
It's terrifying to think about. 49 is a lot of deaths, but like it was a warship. It was probably a lot worse.
Yeah. I mean, this thing, like it carried 15,000 troops at a time.
Yeah.
At times, right? So like some of those folks had to have passed.
Yeah.
Along the way.
Well, yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah. But 50 feet below the waterline sits the engine room.
Okay.
One of the hottest spots on the ship. And in the engine room is door 13.
Door 13.
Yeah.
I just got like a little chill. Ooh, I like it.
Yeah. And I saw a photo of it and it basically looks like a double wide 2 foot thick cast iron door.
Yeah.
Is what it looks like. I don't know if it's actually made of cast iron, but
I mean, those are heavy nautical doors, right?
Yeah. And door 13 has actually crushed 2 employees over the course the life of the ship. Yeah. And it's said that these 2 employees, one of them was 18. It said that they roam like the engine room, bloodied and moaning.
Oh.
And there's been like a ton of sightings apparently of them down there just walking around in their work uniforms.
Yeah.
Just moaning.
Why did I get crushed by a door?
And
what a lame way to die.
Yeah, I'm probably pissed off.
If I got crushed by a door and I came back as a ghost, I'd be like, what? A fucking door? A fucking door killed me? A door? Like, I would be saying that for the rest of eternity.
Yeah.
I'd be so mad.
But Google it. Look at the door. Look at door 13. It's fucking huge. So I get it. And maybe like, I don't know the exact circumstances of their deaths via door 13.
Yeah.
But maybe it was open and like each time and then like the ship hit a huge swell or something and swung closed. I don't know. But
jeez, man. That would be a terrible way to go.
It's an evil door.
But it is door 13. 13's the scary number.
Yes, it is.
That's the spooky number.
Yeah. All right. 2 other hotspots are the first and second class swimming pools.
Okay.
The first class pool hasn't been used in more than 30 years, but spirits are still spotted walking around in 1930s swimwear.
Okay.
You can often hear splashing sounds of swimmers, and even wet footprints have been spotted around, like bare footprints.
Interesting. Okay.
Have been spotted around, yeah. And that's one of the most common reported sightings of like haunted activity.
It's the footprints.
Which I think is crazy.
Yeah, that is cool.
I don't know. Yeah, bare footprints when everyone's wearing shoes around the ship and
Yeah,
stuff.
that'd be interesting to see.
The second class pool is haunted by a little girl named Jackie, who can be seen and heard running around, splashing, and generally having a great time, as she's often heard laughing.
Cool. I'm glad she's having a good time in the afterlife.
Yeah. Now, there's no record of a Jackie drowning in the second class swimming pool.
Right.
But a paranormal investigator named Cher Garman showed up at the ship, checked it out, and confirmed that Jackie is in fact there.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, is unable to move on.
Right. Because she's just having too good of a time.
Yeah,
Having
I
the time
guess
of her
so.
life, like the best day of her life every day.
Yeah. Just loves swimming, I guess.
Everybody's good at something.
And I mean, if I had to be a ghost, I'd love to be an innocent little kid just having a blast.
Yeah.
Right?
Doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah. The Queen's Salon is said to be haunted by a beautiful woman in a white gown that dances late at night. She can
Classic.
often be seen. And perhaps the creepiest paranormal activity on the ship takes place in the old first class staterooms.
The staterooms.
Yeah. And this stuff sounds like a bit more poltergeisty.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stateroom stuff sounds kind of poltergeisty.
Okay.
Here, a brown-haired man in a 1930s suit is often seen. Lights turn off and on at will, taps get turned on and off with no one around, and babies are heard crying quite often.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
In horror movies and stuff, when you just hear babies crying out of nowhere, it sucks.
Yeah. Combination of the creepy dark-haired man and apparently some babies crying, because there were a few babies that died in the staterooms apparently. All in all, there are really never-ending reports of apparitions, ectoplasms, and a ton of bloody soldiers and more just kind of roaming the ship.
Just like a bunch of minor sightings and tons of different ghosts. You said like 150 ghosts, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of it that I have for like the main sort of stories and stuff.
Yeah.
Didn't get a lot of firsthand accounts or anything like that, but they're, according to their website, they get lots of hauntings and things like that. I checked out multiple other websites about it.
Okay.
And just in general, it just seems to be a hotbed of ghost
It's just a very
sightings
haunted place.
Yeah, and noises.
As haunted places go.
And I guess it just doesn't feel good when you're in there.
Yeah.
You know? And
that
one thing,
atmosphere.
Yeah. One thing that like, I don't know, this really reminded me of Fairmont.
Oh, yeah.
So I used to work at the Fairmont Palm Springs, built in 1880. It's like a giant castle, basically, in Banff. Lots of old tales, very spooky, pretty ancient, kind of high class, like the Queen Mary sort of seems to be very fancy.
I had a friend that used to run the ghost tours.
Did you?
Yeah.
Do you know his name? Oh, you don't say it.
Yeah, I won't say it. But
yeah,
he's an
maybe,
actor.
Maybe I worked with him or something. Who knows?
You may have seen him a couple of times, yeah.
Because I did see the ghost tours 2 times a day for the entire month of October.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it just kind of reminded me of it, like this old school, ancient, really big place, like lots of nooks and crannies around. Like everything in it seemed to have a history of its own or a story of its own.
Yeah.
And I can totally get why people would think this place is haunted.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just get that vibe, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
When you're in a supposedly haunted place, already the suggestion of it being haunted is kind of like a creepy thought, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then those places have that vibe to them, like the old and like everything seems a little off and it's like imperfect and it doesn't fit with the regular buildings you walk into in life.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, unless you're ultra familiar with massive boats, like I can imagine the Queen Mary being a bit maze-like too.
Oh, yeah.
Like nothing makes sense. The layouts are confusing. There's so many different floors. Like the engine room itself is 50 feet below the waterline.
Yeah, that's pretty far down.
That's crazy. So yeah, like I mentioned, there is a hotel there.
Of course.
There's also some retail space and there's even a little gift shop.
Of course there is.
And like I mentioned earlier too, with all the financial troubles and stuff, like if you live in LA, you should check it out now while you can.
Yeah. Honestly, I kind of want to check it out too.
Yeah.
Once we can travel again, that might be a place I go.
Yeah. I think that would be a fantastic spot to go to.
Yeah.
And also get some nice California sun on your skin, you know?
Yeah. Just have a nice little vacay.
Yeah. Where is Long Beach?
I'm not actually sure.
It's long.
And it's a beach. But it'd be cool to do it would be cool to do the Queen Mary and then go down to San Francisco and do Alcatraz.
Alcatraz. Oh my gosh. LPOTL did a series, multi-part series of Alcatraz. Crazy. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that would be a cool little trip just for haunted places, I think.
All right. So our second haunted place is the LaLaurie Mansion.
The LaLaurie Mansion. I've seen it myself.
Yeah, you've seen it in person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's located in the city of New Orleans. How do you say it?
Nolans.
Nolans?
Nolans. Yeah.
Nolans. Yeah, located in New Orleans. Nolans. So the owner is who we're going to mostly cover because she is just the most fucked up human woman
God, the
I think
story
I've
of
heard
that place.
In a long.
Oh. Yeah, no, like I did a ghost tour in New Orleans, and that's one of the stops on that particular ghost tour.
For good reason.
God damn, like it was just hard to listen to. Like it's terrifying. It's awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess you'll get into that.
I listened to a podcast like months ago, and some black woman from New Orleans was on it. I wish I could remember her name, but I can't. And she said on the podcast that she won't even walk on that side of the street.
Yeah.
Like she'll literally cross the street just so she gets some distance from this house.
The history of that place is so horrific. I wouldn't even, I don't blame her one bit.
Me neither.
I would not.
Me neither. Yeah, if any place was haunted, this place has reason to be for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Madame LaLaurie was a New Orleans socialite and serial killer that lived in the city in the late 1700s to the mid 1800s before being driven out of the city.
For good reason.
And by all accounts, she was an absolutely repugnant person.
Yeah.
Just human garbage.
Oh, yeah.
So she was married a total of 3 times over the course of her life, all to wealthy and socially prominent men. And I just want to give like a super brief overview of her marriages.
Okay.
Super brief.
Super brief.
Just so you get a little taste.
She killed her husbands, didn't she?
Of LaLaurie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Her first husband died. Mysteriously.
I wonder how.
Her second husband died.
Mysteriously?
Mysteriously.
Yeah.
And she requested a divorce from her third husband, but it does not appear that she actually followed through with it.
Because he died mysteriously?
No.
Oh, he didn't.
No, he actually fled New Orleans with her. Yeah.
Oh, not good for him.
But yeah, she convinced all of her kids to shit talk him, I guess, in court and stuff like that. And she was fully intending on divorcing the guy. Not sure why. Maybe he knew what was going on in the house
and he wasn't into it
to,
yeah,
stay around. Although I would not blackmail LaLaurie.
No.
Given the history
first
of
two
her
husbands died mysteriously. I'm not pissing this girl off.
Yeah, I mean, husband number 1, devastating. Holy cow. Husband number 2? Check, please. I'm out of here.
Yeah, that third husband was crazy to even get involved with her.
Yeah.
Like, did he not know?
I don't know. I feel like things would be easier to hide.
I guess so, yeah.
Like, actually, her first husband did die in Haiti.
Okay.
Not in New Orleans.
Right.
But yeah. And it was during the third marriage that the infamous 2-story mansion was built on 1140 Royale Street.
Mm-hmm. I've been there.
You've been there. Does it feel creepy?
It looks creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's the only house, I guess you'd call, on the street that doesn't even look like accessible in a weird way. Like there's a balcony that you can see, but there's like doors that are always shuttered. They look like they're sealed, kinda. It doesn't look like you can actually get into the place. Like it's weirdly locked down in a weird way.
Yeah.
Every other place seems like, you see the front entrance, everything's normal. That house just has a weird feel to it. Like it just does not look normal, and it doesn't look inviting in any way. And knowing what happened in the house also just like adds to this whole like, I wouldn't be caught dead inside of this place. I would never go in there.
Yeah. I think when you went, I think it would have been foreclosed.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Maybe that had something to do with the accessibility aspect of it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it did look shuttered.
It likely was.
Yeah.
It likely was. So accounts of Madame LaLaurie's treatment of slaves between 1931 and 1934 were mixed.
Okay.
Very mixed initially. Some people described her as extremely polite and respectful of other people's slaves.
Oh.
While others reported her as being singularly haggard and wretched towards slaves.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Which, as we now know, is a little bit more accurate.
Yeah, that's more the truth of the situation.
Yeah. In general, though, it seems that publicly, for the most part, at the beginning, her treatment of slaves was just okay.
Right.
And she even actually freed 2 of her slaves in the early 1800s before shit really hit the fan.
Okay.
Don't know why, but that's a good thing.
But she did.
Freeing slaves. Yeah. During the same time period, though, the treatment of her own slaves was not as nice as outward appearances conveyed.
Yeah.
12 slaves were reported dead, including one of her cooks and the cook's 4 children.
My God.
The cause of deaths are not reported, but even if you factor in the time period, the harsh lifestyle of slaves, and potential diseases, 12 dead slaves is a fuck of a lot.
Yeah, that's too many dead slaves.
Over the course of like 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, that's not good.
That's too many.
That's too many dead.
1 is too many, but 12 is...
That's way too many.
Definitely, yeah. In early 1836, a 12-year-old slave girl was witnessed falling to her death from the roof of the mansion while being chased by a whip-wielding LaLaurie.
Oh, my God.
While combing the madame's hair, she accidentally snagged a knot and just pulled on her hair a little bit.
Oh,
which
no.
sent LaLaurie into a fit of rage.
God.
And from all these stories I found, like, she just delighted in that shit. Like, doesn't matter how small, like the smallest infraction. And
You're
she
done.
just turned it on.
Ugh.
Yeah. Oh.
That's repulsive.
So due to the number of dead slaves over the years and the little girl's public death, rumors of LaLaurie's mistreatment of her slaves were growing. And at one point, a local lawyer was dispatched to the royal residence to make sure that LaLaurie was following the local slave laws. But nothing of note was found.
Huh. Either that lawyer wasn't looking good enough or, I mean, she probably had money.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, man. Early to mid 1800s, literally as far south as you can get.
Yeah, can you imagine what their slave laws are like?
Well, I'm going to go into it actually because I found that fascinating. But just like, I can't even imagine the treatment of these slaves.
No, I mean...
For other people to be like, hey, that's too fucking far.
Yeah.
Like, tone it down a little bit.
From what I know in the Deep South, that period in time, like, slaves were treated worse than dogs, man. Like, it was bad.
So how fucking bad were these poor slaves treated for other slave owners to be like, cut that shit out?
Yeah. Like,
I don't know.
I might yell at my slaves every once in a while, but you're, like, doing some horrible shit.
I might even beat my slaves daily because that's allowed and
God,
not frowned
I hate
upon.
that. Jesus Christ.
But whatever she was doing
was worse.
Or whatever other people were seeing her doing.
Yeah. Whatever normal people noticed.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
And I mean, we'll get into what
happens
down.
behind closed doors. That's the scary shit.
Jesus. Yeah, but this lawyer showed up, checked it out, and said things were fine.
Yeah, of course.
And after that, the rumors kind of subsided. Life was pretty easy for her.
Yeah.
For the most part,
She just do whatever she wanted to do.
Yeah. But I am going to go on a tangent about these like slave laws.
Okay.
Because I thought that, I don't know about you, but I always assumed that back in the day in the States, when you had slaves, they were your property and you could do whatever the fuck you wanted
That was kind of my assumption.
to do with them. Yeah.
I haven't done too much research on slave ownership or anything, though.
But apparently there were actually laws to protect slaves.
Okay.
And these laws were called slave codes.
Okay.
And they were state dependent. So in Louisiana, it was called the Noir Code.
Okay.
So I didn't find any like New Orleans specific laws for
Right.
treatment of
But you
slaves
found
and stuff.
Louisiana.
Yeah. And it was called the Noir Code.
Okay.
So we're going to get into a few of the rules there.
Okay.
Rule number 1, no Jews allowed.
Oh,
Swear to God, the first rule
that's rule number 1.
is essentially no Jews allowed. Second rule is no other religions other than Catholic, but apparently the Jew hate was so strong that rule number 1 was no Jews allowed.
Yeah, that's
No Jewish owners of slaves.
That's ridiculous.
And no Jewish slaves.
Oh my God.
Rule
What?
fucking number 1.
That is so weird.
Yeah. And I don't know. Of course, I always hear that Jews have been persecuted through time immemorial and whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing shit like this just reinforces that. Like, why?
Yeah. Like what? Okay.
I don't know.
Whatever.
They were the enemy of Catholics and they were not allowed.
Okay. Fine.
Rule number 2, and I'm not going to go over all of them because I think there was like 50 plus rules. Like there were so many rules and not all of them were good.
Yeah, of course not.
Right? But another one of the rules was that slaves must be baptized and raised Catholic.
Okay.
Makes sense. This one I liked. This is where the religion aspect kind of helped the slaves a little bit, I think. But no slave works on Sundays.
Oh, okay.
It's the Lord's Day.
Yeah.
They do not work on Sundays, and they are not allowed to be sold on Sundays.
Okay.
So just thank God that they at least had one fucking day.
Like one
of reprieve.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a bad time in history.
Another one of the codes in the Noir Code, if a child is born to a slave mother, they are born slaves. And if the parents were owned by different slave owners, the children were legally the owner of the mother's property. So the kids always went to the mother, never the husband.
Right.
Which, I don't know. That was interesting, I thought. But on the flip side, if one of the parents is a free person, those children are also free.
Oh, okay.
So like, yeah.
So you're born free if you're a freed slave.
Yeah. If one of your parents is a freed black individual, then yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You would also be free, which was huge, I feel. I'm sure that saved so many children because.
I hope so.
Holy cow. Another one of them was if a slave is too old or injured to work, they are to be cared for and nourished by their master. Which I really like. Like I'm just, I feel so thankful that there's some laws.
Yeah, there was something protecting these people that were going through the worst period of history.
Yeah.
In the Western culture.
You know, these laws were in place, and in this case, obviously they ended up helping. But I'm sure like on like plantations especially and stuff, that no holds barred. Like I don't really imagine.
I'm sure that people weren't keeping an eye on them.
Yeah. Or a lot of people just, the racism was so strong that they just didn't listen to the slave codes. Like I'm sure that was commonplace as well.
Yeah.
But fortunately, these were in place. And every now and again, as we see here, they played a factor.
Sure.
The final code, and the most relevant for the LaLaurie's situation, was that owners, they could chain and beat their slaves with rods or straps, but they could not mutilate or torture their slaves lest they be subject to extreme punishment.
Okay.
So you could discipline, but you couldn't intentionally like fuck them up and mutilate and torture.
And torture.
Could not be. Just don't be sadistic, even though slavery in and of itself is sadistic.
Yeah.
And the final code I want to mention, actually, because this one also just warmed my heart a little bit, which sounds so weird given the subject matter. But the final code was that families must be kept together and not sold separately. They had to remain with one owner. They could not be separated. And yeah, like I said, there was like at least 30 plus of these. A lot of them were like based off like disputes and stuff, or like some were weird with like the king and things. But yeah, slave codes, they existed. Look them up. Weird. Interesting. So one day, a fire broke out at the mansion, set by a 70-year-old slave who had been chained to the mansion's oven.
Mm-hmm.
She set the blaze as a suicide attempt, and when bystanders showed up to help put out the blaze, explained that when slaves went to a room upstairs, they never came back.
Right.
Yikes. During the fire, the group of bystanders, including Judge Jean-Francois Canonge, attempted to go through the LaLaurie Mansion to ensure everyone had gotten out. And sure enough, they found a locked room upstairs.
Yeah, this is like the main story they tell in the ghost.
This is the main story. Yeah. After requesting the keys to the room and being denied them, the crowd broke down the door and found 7 slaves strung up by their necks and horribly mutilated.
God damn.
I know. They had their limbs stretched, twisted, and torn, were flayed horribly, and they were tied and held in unnatural positions. They even wore spiked collars meant to keep their heads upright and stationary.
Ugh,
as in like the spikes pointed up under their chins and stuff.
Yeah, so they couldn't move their heads or anything.
Yeah, or be freaking stuck with these spikes. Oh my God.
And she was like conducting experiments and stuff on these people, right?
Yeah. So I don't want to get too much more into the gruesomeness because it's just A, hard to talk about, and B, apparently a lot of the information nowadays about them has been like dramatized and there's like set sources or anything.
Blown way out of proportion.
Exactly. So what I have just said is kind of the definitive, this for sure happened.
Yeah.
Everything else is kind of hearsay.
Sure. Okay.
Either way, though, insanely fucked up. Oh, another one of the slaves was like an older grandma-aged lady who had a huge gash in her head.
Yeah.
Almost zombified from the sounds of things, couldn't function at all, and just had a huge open wound on her head.
God, that's awful.
Yeah. I just, holy.
So she was not a good slave owner.
She was not.
Not that any people who own slaves I would consider all that good. You know, she was the worst slave owner, maybe.
Worst of the worst. And according to the slaves that had been locked in that room, they had been there for months. They had been locked in and tortured for months in this room.
God damn.
No fresh air, no light incoming, and obviously tortured.
And just torture.
She was trying to get every ounce of pain into these people as she possibly could.
Yeah, no shit, this place is haunted.
Yeah.
God damn, that makes you sick, man.
Yeah. And after seeing this and getting outside and getting everybody out, Judge Jean had confronted LaLaurie's third husband about what they had just witnessed in that room. And he basically told them to fuck off and mind his own business.
Really?
Yeah.
A judge?
To a judge. Yeah. I don't know if he knew he was a judge.
Yeah.
But this dude was a fucking judge. And yeah, like he said it a little bit fancier than that. Like,
mind your own business, my good man.
yeah. Stay out of my affairs and stuff like that.
Stay out of my affairs.
Yeah. So reports of the tortured slaves quickly spread through New Orleans.
You'd imagine they would, yeah.
Yeah. And while those rumors were going about, 2 of the 7 slaves died in the hospital.
Ish.
Just from their wounds.
Yeah.
And within a few days, a mob of 4,000 people ransacked the LaLaurie Mansion, leaving it barely standing and forcing the LaLauries to flee to France, where they spent the remainder of their lives.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad they got rid of her.
Mm-hmm.
I hope
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of horrific shit didn't also happen in France due to her existence.
Here's hope. I don't know the slave situation in France, but yeah, fingers crossed, nothing bad happened over there. After the LaLauries had fled, though, and the mob had dispersed, the New Orleans Police Department quickly began a search of the property, where they found the remains of a ton of slaves buried throughout the property and in the mansion's decommissioned well. And in those remains were the bodies of multiple children.
No.
All who had gone unreported by the LaLauries.
God damn.
Just a freaking graveyard on this property.
Yeah.
So the mansion stood ruined for 4 years until it was finally rebuilt by a man named Pierre Trestor.
Okay.
And that's the building that you see today.
Right.
So you're not actually seeing the original structure because it was essentially destroyed by this mob.
Yeah. Gladly.
Yeah, I'm glad the original structure no longer exists, without a doubt. So over the years, the mansion has had a varied history, operating as a public high school, a conservatory of music, an apartment building, a refuge for young delinquents, a bar, a furniture store, and finally, a luxury apartment building.
Wow, it's really a jack of all trades kind of place.
Yeah, I guess. And ever since the original mansion was burned down, the property has been reportedly haunted. I don't know what you heard. Maybe you can add some stuff if I'm missing some things. But the tales say that the wails of agony from these slaves plague its rooms at night. Doors slam, faucets suddenly turn on, and furniture moves on its own.
Cool.
Body imprints are said to be found in beds that no one has slept in.
Oh, yeah.
Apparitions of slaves, some wearing chains, have been seen walking around the property as well.
Very fun.
Just in general, reportedly very, very spoopy. And basically these reports started as soon as the new building came up.
Yeah. See, the thing is, like, I don't even care if you believe in ghosts or anything, or if, like, you believe the place is haunted. Just knowing the history of the place and trying to spend any time in there, it just, for me personally, would be too much.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's just such a terrible fucking history. Like, that would never leave my mind. It would always just be, like, the forefront. You know, around these parts, in this general vicinity, some of the worst shit ever happened to some very innocent people.
Yeah, that did not deserve any of that shit at all.
So, yeah, it's a haunted place just based on the fact that it's got a horrible history. Like, the vibe of the place would just be fucking terrible. Like, even when I stood, like, I don't know, 40 feet away from the place, I was like, I hate this place. I hate it. It sucks. This place sucks.
And like my one thing, I guess, that's sort of spiritual or maybe not explainable is like energy. I do believe that like places and things have energy.
Yeah.
Not like energy stones and shit like that, but like I don't know.
Like you
just
can
get
leave
a
imprints
feeling.
Of like,
yeah, and I totally believe that the energy of this place would just be like
the air is probably thick. And
it
probably just feels wrong.
Feels yucky. Yeah, I can't believe it's still standing. I mean. One interesting tidbit, I suppose, was that in 2007, Nick Cage bought the place.
I did hear about that. Yeah, they mentioned that too.
Did they? Yeah. And it was foreclosed on 2 years later. So hopefully he's doing better financially, I guess.
I think he is. But also, I don't think he spent like any time there from what they were saying. Like he may have spent like 1 or 2 days a year in it.
Okay.
But I don't think he liked the place.
Maybe for Mardi Gras or something. Maybe that was his Mardi Gras
I don't think he
house.
even liked the place.
Yeah,
Like, I think he
know.
bought it because it was like this spooky, cool, like what rich celebrities do is buy these like really weird places.
Like a place with a story,
and
right?
And then my assumption is he got into the place and he was like, this isn't the right idea. This isn't what everyone else is doing.
Yeah. Oh, God. So there's one thing I want to mention before we close off, and that's like the attitude of Madame LaLaurie. So apparently when she moved back to France, she had a bunch of family in France and stuff like that. Apparently she didn't think she did anything wrong.
Really?
She didn't feel any remorse about it and was mostly pissed off that she had been driven out of the place that she loved.
Wow.
And according to her family members and reports and whatnot, she tried to go back multiple times.
Oh my God, why?
And essentially for the rest of her life, it sounded like her family was just constantly trying to convince her not to go back.
Yep.
Which they successfully did, fortunately. But yeah, what a just colossal piece of shit.
It would have been cool if she went back and got murdered and then like no one talked about it, you know?
Fucking justice, some frontier justice.
Yeah. That would have been a way better ending to the story, but
yeah.
This is life, man. That sucks.
That is the LaLaurie Mansion.
Crazy shit, man. The idea that it actually happened just blows my mind.
Yeah. That's about it for the episode, though.
Cool.
And yeah, like we mentioned at the start, we'll do tons of other haunted-esque episodes.
Yeah. Because we're both like super into the haunted places and their histories and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks so much for listening to part 1 of Haunted Places. Hope you liked it. Hope you're not going to have any nightmares tonight.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Big shout out to our YouTube listeners, by the way.
Oh yeah. Thank you so much for all the listens. Like, seriously.
Yeah, good idea, Matt, for putting them on there. I never would have, but
yeah, that was just like, it's another place to put them. And, you know, I like having that little tiny visual element to it. So
yeah,
it's really good. Also follow us on Twitter at It's 3 a.m. pod, and you'll get updates about our episodes and when they come out. Obviously, it's every second Saturday at 3 a.m. But, you know, if anything else happens, we'll keep you updated.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah.
Go to bed, everybody.
Yeah, go to bed.